In today's video, we're talking all about interlocking. I'm going to give you some do's and don'ts, and then I'm going to share a little bit about my journey so you can get an idea of why I chose to interlock my hair and the different tools that I use. So let's jump into it. What is interlocking? Interlocking is basically taking your hair and you're looping it through itself in order to tighten it and get that new growth. People will refer to this sometimes as a retightening or interlocking their hair. To me personally, it takes a little bit more time. However, it lasts longer. When I started my lock journey, I would retwist my hair with just the regular retwisting where you just twist it. I found that my hair was unraveling. One of the things that I wanted to change about my hair journey is I didn't want to rely on too many products. The gel was just not working for me because my hair would get itchy. I would get a lot of buildup in my locks and I didn't care too much for that, which is what led me to explore a different method of retwisting my hair. I didn't have to use a product. That's the first thing that was appealing to me. I could just interlock my hair with nothing basically. However, I do use water when I am interlocking my hair just to prevent breakage, and I would only need a tool. So the tools that I use currently for interlocking my hair are this crochet needle, which all of us are used to seeing this. And then the other tool that I use is this little tool that has a little eye on it, which has been a game changer for me. My locks become more mature. This one tends to be my favorite one. The first don't that I have is do not force your hair to go through a loop. I know sometimes it can be tempting to have those clean parts. If you're looping through your hair through a rotation and you find that one rotation is a little bit tough to get the hair through, don't force it. This can lead to breakage. It can lead to tension on your roots. It's not worth it. Leave that rotation and then wait till the next time. Then after your hair grows a little bit, then you'll be able to loop it again. Another don't is do not rush this process. Interlocking is not a process that you want to rush. You can interlock two pieces of hair together. I've done it before very easily. A lot of the sections you're not going to be able to see. So you really want to take your time, which goes into the next don't that I have. Don't go through the same loop two times. There are different types of rotations that you can do. You can do a 2-point rotation, which means that you're going two different directions. I do a 2-point rotation, which I would go up and left, up and right. Some people do a 4-point rotation where they go north, south, east, and west, or however they decide to go about it. Some people do a 3-point rotation. So depending on the rotation you choose, you want to make sure that you don't go the same direction two times because that can cause a hole in your lock, which is a pain to repair. What is a hole? After a while, you'll notice that you'll have a lock and then there will be a hole in one section from where you went through it twice. It's definitely fixable at that moment. However, if you miss that and then you go for a while with another retwist, then it gets a little bit more challenging to repair that lock. Interlocking is not something that you want to rush through, you want to be quick with. You definitely want to take your time. You want to be precise as well, because even though you might not see those mistakes right away after you're done with your session, you retwist later, you'll start to see the differences in whether it's you have a hole in your lock, whether you've merged two locks together, or whether you've just done a sloppy job with your interlocking. You want to make sure that the lock is consistent throughout. So you can see the root section of over here, this is all interlocked hair. It gets thicker towards the bottom where the 2-strand twist was, as you can see over here. And it's a little bit more compact at the interlocked section. Next, we're gonna transition into some do's. If you're interlocking your hair, make sure that your hair is clean. You wanna make sure that your hair is washed. It'll be a lot easier to interlock on damp hair. If your hair is not damp at that moment, if maybe you've washed it recently, just go ahead and spray it with some water. It makes it so much easier to handle your hair. The next do that I have is do try different tools to see what works best for you. Like I mentioned, I started off using this tool, and over time now I use this tool. This works out so much better for me, but I found that with shorter pieces, this one tends to work out a little bit better. So as I'm interlocking my hair, I tend to switch tools. Around my edges, this one tends to work a little bit better because that's where the locks are thinner and shorter. Like for instance, like this one is a newer lock. For this, it would be hard for it to fit into this tool. So instead, I would just pull it through with this particular one. Pay attention to the schedule that you're using to interlock your hair. Some people are on a 6-week schedule, some people are on an 8-week schedule. The thing with interlocking is you really want to make sure that your parts are not merging into each other. You want to make sure that you're interlocking your hair when you need to, not more than you need to, because sometimes your new growth can grow out. It's a lot tougher to interlock your hair when you've had new growth that has stayed for a really long time. I know this from experience. So you want to find that sweet spot where you're not retightening too frequently and you're also not neglecting and waiting long periods of time where it takes a long time because you now have to separate. Even though interlocking is great, I think it can be tempting to constantly want to tighten your locks even when you have like a little bit of new growth. I would recommend allowing the new growth to grow before you're interlocking. That's what I have to share today about interlocking. There's so much that could be shared about this. There's a lot of information that I did not cover today. However, those are just the basics for someone who might be considering interlocking their hair. It does take some time to get the hang of it. You will make mistakes. I still make mistakes today as well. For me, the biggest thing was I wasn't noticing that unraveling. Now, someone might say that my retwists were possibly not being done well before, which is why I could have been experiencing unraveling. I don't think that's the case. My hair could just not hold the retwist unless I was using a ridiculous amount of product, which the product led to additional issues with my scalp. It was causing buildup that I didn't like. If you want a retwist technique that you can do by yourself that won't require products, then try interlocking and see if it works well for you. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.